Speaking at the 2025 edition of the Semicon India, Modi said that the government is working to ensure faster approvals to reduce the time it takes to start manufacturing semiconductors in India. Addressing the industry leaders, Prime Minister Modi underlined India's growing role in semiconductor ecosystem, highlighting reforms, investments and country's commitment to becoming a full-stack semiconductor nation. Modi said, India may have started late in the chip race, but the nation is now unstoppable. In its mission to become a semiconductor hub, he also drew a parallel between oil and semiconductors, describing chips as the digital diamonds of 21st century.
सेमीकंडक्टर की दुनिया में एक बात कही जाती है, oil was black gold, but chips are digital diamonds. इक्कीसवीं शताब्दी की शक्ति छोटी सी चिप में सिमट करके रह गई है। दुनिया भर में सेमीकंडक्टर से जुड़े एक्सपर्ट्स हैं। 40-50 से ज्यादा देशों का यहां रिप्रेजेंटेशन है और भारत की इनोवेशन और यूथ पावर भी यहां नजर आ रही है। और ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन बना है उसका एक ही मैसेज है, द वर्ल्ड ट्रस्ट इंडिया। द वर्ल्ड बिलीव्स इन इंडिया एंड द वर्ल्ड इज रेडी टू बिल्ड the semiconductor future with India.
At Semicon India, IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw presented the first made in India chip, the Vikram 32-bit processor, to Prime Minister Modi. So what is this Vikram chip? Vikram is India's first fully indigenous 32-bit microprocessor. It has been developed by ISRO Semiconductor Lab with fabrication and packaging done at the Semiconductor Hub in Mohali. But while India is taking great leaps in homegrown semiconductors, it has a long way to go before it catches up with the world leaders. At present, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, China and United States of America dominate the semiconductor industry. Taiwan rules with more than 60% of global production, with TASMAC being the world's largest semicon foundry. Excellence in chip design has helped the United States emerge as a semiconductor hub. Led by Samsung, South Korea is leading in the memory chip segment, even as mid-tier node manufacturing is booming in China and Japan. And Japan too is emerging as a key supplier of semiconductor material and equipment. Where does India figure in the global pecking order? India is emerging as a significant player in the semiconductor ecosystem, transitioning from a design and a consumption hub to a manufacturing powerhouse. As of 2025, India's semiconductor market is valued at United States dollar 45 to 50 billions, up from 38 billion in 2023, and is projected to reach 110 billion by 2030. Competitors in Taiwan, South Korea and US are already decades ahead. India is playing a long game of catch-up in a fast-moving industry. India may have to overcome many hurdles in its journey to become a semiconductor manufacturing hub. Building a semiconductor fabrication plant is one of the most expensive industrial endeavors on the planet. A state-of-the-art fabrication can cost $10 to $20 billion. In 2022, the center approved a financial outlay of $10 billion for its entire Semicon India program. The entire budget is less than the cost of a single advanced fab. Now let us look at it from a larger perspective. Taiwan's TSMC invests 32 to 36 billion annually in building fabs in US and Japan. Samsung has committed $230 billion investment for next 20 years. Another big challenge is the lack of supply chain and semiconductor ecosystem. The question is, how does one create a single fab? Setting up a single fab means also convincing its entire supply chain to set up shop nearby. Then there are infrastructural issues. Semiconductor fabs require flawless infrastructure. A fabrication cannot tolerate even a second of power fluctuation. Millions of gallons of ultra power water must be purified to an extreme level daily. While India is improving, providing the plug-and-play utility-level reliability at a competitive cost still remains a challenge. Under Prime Minister Modi, India is ready to make great semiconductors leap with targeted initiatives. These include India's Semiconductor mission launched in 2021 with a focus on fabrications, ADMP and ecosystem development and overseas approvals, plus incentives and PLI schemes for manufacturing up to 50% project cost support. Since 2021, 10 projects worth US $18 billion have been approved. As a powerhouse economy, India offers a lot of advantages for chip makers, and here is what is going for it. Nearly every major global semiconductor company has a large R&D and design center in India. 1 in 5 of world semiconductor design engineers are based in India. India is one of the world's largest consumers of semiconductors, driven by its huge population and digital penetration. The Indian semiconductor market is expected to reach 100 to 110 billion by 2030. The massive domestic demand is the primary incentive for companies to make in India for India. Now on this issue, I am joined by Ashok Chandak, President SEMI India and India Electronic Semiconductor Association, and Ajit Manucham, CEO and President SEMI. Thank you both of you for joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, Ashok, let me come to you first. Good day. But what is the biggest challenge, sir? Because in terms of catching up with Taiwan and other countries, it's a long race. So what is the big picture where you put India, sir?
India has indeed made a great progress over the last couple of years by having the multiple projects, proposals, those have been good quality, which got approval from the central government under the scheme Semicon India program. And they also got the support from the various states. So we already made the first step in the journey of becoming a manufacturing powerhouse. India has been surely already a leading in terms of the design ecosystem, as you already pointed out, that 20% of the world's engineering manpower remains with us actually. Now, the important thing over here in terms of the scale up, the execution of these projects, because 10 projects are already announced and approved, they need to be implemented, they need to be executed, they need to really start producing the chips. Those are world-class and quality, and build onto the trust which is already there from the global community on India. And in addition to that, being a long-term approach over here, the additional support from government would be required going forward. So there are only two topics here actually which we need to spend efforts. One, make these projects complete on time, execute that with a flawless implementation and get a good quality chips being produced that builds our trust. Being the semiconductor market and semiconductor sector being more global, that means you are interdependent on multiple countries, and that is where India need to prove its talent pool in terms of manufacturing setup.
Okay, let me ask a couple of questions which people, outside this business of semiconductors would like to know. Let me straight away go to Mr. Ajit Manucham, sir. For example, it's a 30-bit processor with a standard 180 nm. Industry standards have gone down to 8 nm. So where do we do the catching up, sir? What should be the timeline for us? And second thing, what about the private players in this chip setup? How do we evaluate their outcomes, sir?
So that's a great question. First of all, I don't think we need to really get hung up on the most advanced nodes like 28, 40 nanometers or 10 nanometers, because the demand of semiconductors is growing across the board. Whether say legacy technologies or mature technologies are the range that we decided to start in Tata from 40 nanometers and so on. Because if you look at this, say, smartphone, 20% of the chips are advanced nodes, 80% are mature nodes. And the industry, as you probably said in the opening remark, if I was listening, you know that our industry was $600 billion, give and take some, last year, and it's going to be doubling to 1 trillion in next 6 years. What happened in 60 some years will double, more than double in the next 6 years. And it's not only the most advanced nodes, it's the across the board. So India has to start somewhere. So it's starting at 40 nanometers, going to 28 and so on. We'll probably need fabs even at 180 nanometer nodes and even above. And of course, in order to go to the advanced nodes for data center chips and so on, that will be 40 nanometers, 10 nanometers and below. That will all happen. We're just starting. As Modi ji said this morning, we have a late start, but we are having a great start. So it's late and great, but also there's a lot of catching up to do. It will take time. It's not a process that you can just start and finish in a few months or a year or 2 years. It takes a few years, but the good thing is the momentum is very high right now. The global semicon, we started last year in September in Greater Noida. This is second semicon this year. It is more than the double of the size and scale of last year. And it is unprecedented. This semicon is at a maturity level of the semicons which have been running in other parts of the world for 50 years.